Hi guys, welcome back to the desk corner and welcome to another new video. Now if you saw my last video, you saw that I took a trip to Maui and I did quite a few Maui inspired artworks in that video. I will link that at the end of this video, maybe in the description box down below as well in case you missed that one. But I have been in the mood to draw some sea creatures and seascapes lately because of that trip and how it kind of inspired me creatively. So today we are going to be doing another watercolor painting, and I'm actually collaborating with Grabie in today's video. I've worked with them before, and Grabie was so kind to send me their set of synthetic watercolor brushes. I'm very, very excited to use these. I don't have a whole lot of watercolor brushes, if I'm being honest, and so I was really excited to get some new ones. They come in this really nice tube. So before we take a look at these, I just wanted to mention to you guys that since Prime Day is coming up, Grabie is going to be having sales on their Prime store. I will link that in the description box down below. If you're interested in either these brushes or some of the other products that Grabie offers, so again, it will be linked in the description down below, and I will be reviewing these brushes today with you guys as I watercolor these jellyfish. So let's go ahead and start. Before we get started on the artwork, let's go ahead and start by opening this tube. I really like this tube that this comes with. Sorry if I'm shaking the desk a little bit. So this is the size 8 brush, and our smallest one is going to be a size 0 brush. So this is a really nice variety. I'm so excited to try these out with you guys today, honestly, and I'm excited to use them here because we could use a variety of different size brushes on something like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and unwrap these from the plastic that they come in. That was maybe a bit too much plastic wrap, so I got everything undone. Now I have the brushes in order from the biggest size 8 all the way to the smallest size 0. And so you can see the variety in this set now. Now, I'm probably not going to use every single brush in this painting because that might be a little bit much, but I'm going to use a couple of different sizes here. And of course, before I actually get started, I'm going to want to put these brushes in water and take off the glue that holds the brushes together since they're new. I'd like to try at least 4 in this video though, since there are quite a few different brushes. So maybe this would be a good place to start. So I've got size 0, 4, and 6 and 8 for us to try out for now. And then if I want to grab any other sizes while we're doing this painting, I will. I'm going to go ahead and take out my paints, which I've already made a new swatch chart for in another recent video, thank goodness. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started on this painting. I'm very excited, you guys. For this painting, we are starting with the background first, and I'm loading up my brush with water and paint to test how it holds all that water and paint, which of course is important in a watercolor brush. This is the big size 8 brush, and I have to say it did pretty well, and it held its point for those little detailed areas. You will see me switch when I get to some of those even smaller crevices to a smaller sized brush because my precision, and this is totally just on me, but my precision is not exactly great. It's a little bit lacking sometimes, and I rush through things a little bit, so I wasn't able to seamlessly paint the background without getting any paint on those little stringy bits of the jellyfish, because there are quite a few little small bits that I was trying to maneuver around here. But for the most part, you could see that the size 8 brush did a pretty good job with everything, and I decided against doing a wet on wet technique for this painting just because, again, all those little stringy bits of the jellyfish and detail areas and crevices, I didn't really want to have to mask everything off with masking fluid or create an issue where I'd have to be extremely careful, and wet on wet can be kind of unpredictable, so I decided against that. Instead, I went with the wet on dry technique, obviously, and this is going to lead to some more texture in the water here, which is okay. I decided to add a couple of layers until I was happy with it. Here you're just seeing that first layer, of course, And I switched to a smaller brush just so that I could get in between some of those crevices again, especially those really small ones, and I didn't want to mess up my line drawing here. I did mess it up a little bit. I always manage to make mistakes like that, but that's totally okay. This brush was really great about being able to really load up with paint and water when I needed it to. And that's something, of course, that I really want in a watercolor brush. Of course, when you're working with any of these larger sized watercolor brushes, you have to expect it's going to load up more, and it's going to be harder to do details, because with details you don't necessarily want all that extra water. Now moving on to the jellyfish, I honestly did not plan out what colors I wanted the jellyfish to be, and I kind of regret just going in right away with these reds and oranges, because now looking back on it, I think I would have preferred a pink-purple colored jellyfish, but it was far too late. By the time I kind of started this and realized I wanted different colors, it was already too late, and I decided it looked fine anyway. Now this part was difficult. I was using my even smaller detail brush to get into all those tiny detailed areas. It is difficult with watercolor, especially because I'm not all that handy with a brush. I'm better with a pencil, of course, since originally I was mostly just a pencil artist, so I'm still kind of learning my way with detail brushes, and sometimes I don't hold them at the right angle, so I managed to make quite a few muddy mistakes here. At least watching this video you can't see them as well because the camera is zoomed out a little bit. Also, I was able to patch up things pretty well even when I did make mistakes, so it wasn't too bad in the end. I really like how this detail brush works as well. Again, all these brushes really held their point well on the first use, of course, and over time, of course, brushes sometimes lose their point a little bit, so it's definitely a test of time. I'm glad to just have more watercolor brushes in my collection. Thank you, Grabie, again for sending these to me. I really enjoy using them, and I didn't have too many watercolor brushes, some that were really old and that I don't use anymore. So it's useful to have a new bunch of them, especially with such a good range of sizes. At this point, the jellyfish is looking a bit flat, and I run into this issue a lot with watercolor art, so I end up deepening the colors a lot and adding less water. Sometimes that leads to a chalky effect. Of course, I'm using professional watercolor paints here, but still, when you use paints or watercolor paints with very little water, it's going to look less like a watercolor paint and more like, you know, the effect you would get with maybe an acrylic paint or something like that. And I still haven't figured out how to make the paintings look less flat without necessarily deepening the color to that extent. If any of you watercolor artists have tips for me, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm always learning here. So here I am trying to amp up the contrast a little bit, brighten up the jellyfish, make it stand up against the background. If you guys have been on my channel for any amount of time, you might know how much I like those deep colors and that contrast. And for some reason, I really like those dark neutral colors as well. So I did end up using my detail brushes in this set a lot, more than I thought I would. I knew I'd have to use them a little bit, but I used them even more than I thought, and so those were really useful for me. Again, I felt like maybe the painting fell a little bit flat, so I decided to go in and add some extra details, just some little spots or markings on the jellyfish body, and then I wanted to go in and work on the legs, which I found to be a little bit difficult, and even with the detail brush, I just ended up going outside the lines a bit. Again, my brush precision is not that great, and I definitely need to work on that, but I find it difficult. I find it much easier when it's just pencils that you're using and you don't have to worry about the water, because it's the water part that really gets to me and that I find difficult. But overall, I think you can't really tell from afar, and I was able to fix up some of those mistakes that I made. But some of the areas on the legs look a little bit muddy due to my lack of precision. And then you'll just see me going in and finishing up on some of those, and I was really trying again to not let the red seep into the blue in the background to create a muddy mess. at least to my best efforts. Some of it still got on there, and that's okay. Even at this point, I felt like maybe this was lacking just a little bit, and so I decided to add some more fun details onto the legs. Do you even call them legs? Tentacles? I don't think they're tentacles either. But the larger bits on the jellyfish, those are the areas I wanted to add some more fun details to. Then we move on to the one in the background that's kind of half off the page. This one was a little bit easier because I didn't have quite as much to paint. And I went with the same colors, given that I just wanted them to be the same types of jellyfish. Although now looking back, maybe it would be fun if I had done 2 different colors, but that's alright. As we wait for that to dry, I'm going and working on the background a bit. I wanted to deepen up some of that blue and really make it really nice and deep in some parts of the painting, and then have it be lighter around the jellyfish, almost like light is maybe shining down in a certain area. I don't know if I really achieved that effect. Backgrounds can be really difficult. So we're switching brush sizes a bit as I go and do that, and then kind of switch off and work on the jellyfish on the right. The background overall turned out a little bit streaky, as it normally would if I used this technique and not a wet on wet technique, but I was happy with it overall, and I think it added something fun to the painting. Even then though, I wanted the jellyfish to pop out a little bit more, so I decided to go in with my white gel pen once everything was dry and add in some extra glowing details and highlights. And then I'll go and add those into the smaller jellyfish later once I finish it, and that might be off camera, so I might have to show you guys that at the very end of the video. White gel pens really save the day when it comes to watercolor art, I've found. It really just adds that pop that you're looking for sometimes. Oh my goodness, I really messed up some of those legs in the background jellyfish because I mixed the red with the blue and I just couldn't keep between the lines. Hopefully it looks okay from afar, even though it was quite a mess when I was working on it. I think I was able to achieve a similar look and effect as the foreground jellyfish anyway. Now we're just adding some final details and touches to both jellyfish. I might do some off camera, so I will show you guys what this looks like at the end here. Alright you guys, so here's my finished jellyfish piece. As you can see, I added in some small details with the gel pen, and here's how everything looks. I was able to get that water effect in the background that I wanted, where it's kind of light in some areas and a deeper color in the others, and we also have a bit of texture in the background too. So overall, I think I like how this piece turned out. Again, here are the Grabie brushes that were used in this piece. The size 8, 6, 4, and 0, but the set comes with 4 more as we discussed before, so it's a really nice range. And again, if you guys are interested in this product, I'm going to link Grabie's Amazon store in the comments down below for Prime Day. I also wanted to really quickly show you guys these detail brushes that Grabie sent me around the holidays. I have a video where I demonstrate painting using these detail brushes, so I'll also link that video in the comment section down below in case you're more interested in like a detail brush set. And these go a bit smaller too, so you can see that there's more sizes under the size 0 brush, and especially for those really tiny detailed areas, these brushes are great to have as well. So thanks again, Grabie, for sending me these to try out. I'm glad that I have them as part of my collection now. And thank you so much for watching today's video. If you guys have not seen my latest video where I do some paintings inspired by my Hawaii trip, you might want to check that out. I will leave that at the end of the video, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that one too. We do some watercolor painting in that one as well. So I hope everybody is doing really well, and I hope to see you guys soon in a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.